down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
All right, well, welcome to the party. I'm completely amazed. Has everybody read Rich Dad Poor Dad? Yeah. Everybody read that? You know what he said in there? He's like, go to every class possible. No one teaches this stuff. And like, I'm still amazed why this place is not packed. Is it because it's noon? Or is that it's not free? What's the deal? But I even paid $45 last week to go to an apartments class, and I learned $45 worth of what I needed to learn. I know that Mr. Long was in here, and 3 weeks ago went and bought a house from showing up. Deals are made when you get together with people. So, I don't know how much longer we're going to throw this event together, but you should tell other people to come. Or we need to switch this time to another place. It's got to be beneficiary, because it costs me this space right here is $475 a month to rent. And so we had to start charging $10 to cover the cost. I don't see 75 people in here. Or 475? 47 and a half? Yeah.
Miniature house. Yes. Backyard.
Yeah, this is it. So it's very frustrating. That's okay with me because I'm not trying to be anybody but the best. All right, so this is a new concept that, just so you know, some really good friends of mine, we put together a mastermind. And it's incredible. It's like-minded people. And then one person stood up there and just expressed the struggles that he had as an individual in his business. And it was very powerful that the other 15 people that were in the room were firing all these awesome advice and transform this guy's business by like, I can hundreds of thousands of dollars of success from that one meeting. I thought that was extremely powerful. So I've always wanted to put together a hot seat. Now, don't think that you should. Does anybody know what a hot seat is? Basically, you're going to come up here if you want to, and let me give you some subjects: money, finance, decision-making, life, partnerships, aka marriages, motivation, goals, legal, contingency plans. But basically, what today is, and if no one wants to jump up here, believe me, I got content for days, so we can teach you something. You can learn something from somebody today. But does anybody have any interest? What you do is you come up here, and then you got a few minutes, about two or 3 minutes of just expressing what you're struggling with in business, what maybe some ideas or solutions, and then we, as a group, reply with what we think we could help you with as an individual. And I've done this before where someone could not get to a decision maker in a company, and I was like, boom, I know this person, here's his phone number, and that's how powerful this could be. Just somebody in this room knows somebody, okay? It could be you need a heat and air guy, I got a heat and air guy right now, $50 service calls, boom, solve your problem. You need money right now, I got money right now, boom, solve your problem, real quick. Those are easy ones. But does anybody want to take a chance to jump up here? Go ahead. Come on up here.
It's funny you mentioned that.
All right. Say your name.
I'm Blake Lennon. Oh, I get a little hot.
Yeah, you get to sit. Oh,
it's hot. It's hot. Watch out. Okay. Literally, I'm making this real. Okay, I'll try to keep this short.
Say your name. Maybe just a little bit of background about you, just so we kind of have an idea of perspective.
Okay, well, I'm going to get to something more specific here in a minute. Maybe not as specific as, but I'm Blake Lennon. I live in Norman. I'm a real estate investor and a musician. So I'm trying to pick up rental properties. I have taken a quick nutshell on my kind of strategy. Is I have not done much marketing and wholesale, or as far as putting out my own stuff. Since there's a lot of other folks, my strategy has been working with wholesalers to build relationships. And kind of go about it that way, looking at the numbers and saying, as some folks we know, hey, some are doing 5 figures a month spending, right, to push that. Some are doing $3,500, I think is what I'm kind of feeling is the average a month as far as working that numbers. I'm trying to minimize my work that way and just pick up more deals. So that's me in a nutshell. But I do have something specific here that's hit me, and kind of just knowing his hot seat was coming up. I have a little bit more of an issue I want to talk about today is bringing in too much emotion to some of my business deals and some of my issues. And I like for people to like me, and that is, I think, becoming just a little bit of something on my monkey on the back kind of thing that I'm trying to shake, trying to get better with it, and just keep things more business. So something happened yesterday, though. I went on to you guys. I moved in February from a house I lived in for 15 years. So with my wife, we're in a new residence, and so we rented that house out. My old house, we rented it out 6 months ago in mid-March. I've been over there once since then. It looked kind of messy, but all right. We had a couple cats over there, so they had cats coming in. It's like, cool, we'll change the carpets afterwards. I just went over there they had 2 heat and air issues, somewhat significant. I met the guy over there yesterday. The place is a pigsty. So for me, it's like this whole emotion thing is really hitting me hard right now. I'm like, I didn't even want to tell my wife about it yesterday. I mean, she kind of knows the deal because we very well might be moving back into that house, right? So I'm like, I don't want to stress her out, or I want to figure out this on my own. I've always taken kind of what we've talked about. I always present myself to my tenants, and even those tenants, as I'm just a property manager, right? But they knew I lived there, and I kind of came out with the right from the front. I said, yeah, it's a family business, which is true. Family business, and I've been staying here, so my job is to get it leased out, make sure everything's good, and follow the lease. So they still get like mail and stuff with my name on it, but I'm trying to keep things professional in a way. So anywho, I'm there yesterday. She comes in, the tenant stopped in while we're there looking at this heat and air. Heat and air's bad. We pumped it back up, but we got to find the real issue in the coil. But now I'm looking at like, I'm freaking out because I'm like, I'm gonna have to. I don't know how bad it's gonna get. The place I walk in is ammonia. I'm like, the cat thing is out off the hook. Before she got there, I looked around. There's it's bad. Like litter boxes haven't been changed in forever. So it's hit me. I'm like, all right, I can handle this, but what's my next step? So I had a few different options. I don't want to take too much time today, but my thought is hit them back up and say, hey. Just so it happens, we're doing inspections next week. I don't know if I even say it like, hey, you're going to need to straighten some things up, but I just come in and take pictures, so it's not on me, but just give you a heads up, you're going to need to.
All right. Well, let's save time.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got 3 things here.
Yeah.
You have, or 2 things.
I could go
marketing, right? Marketing,
well,
and also, do you want to talk, and then the emotions, okay? Mm-hmm. And then this specific structure. Right? So it's just 2 things, right? Okay, does anybody want to help on first? Anybody have it? This is what I would say. First of all, it's always going to be tough of his emotions. It's just inevitable.
Yeah.
And it's just like I rented out my last house and I put $10,000 in windows, and then I just have to accept the fact that's just the nature of the game. That's just what it is.
Sure.
And I would try to segregate my mind like, from this house to this house, it's all the same. I have to look at it as a business and as a portfolio, and the decisions that I would make over here are the same decisions I would make over there. I would evict the people because it's going to be a long-term problem.
Yeah, 10 more months. They're 6 months in.
Yeah, I would evict them, their lease violation, or I would send them a notice. As soon as I found that situation, I would you got to take the emotion out, because you'll never be successful if you have emotions in business.
Right.
And so, like, just this morning, I had a huge emotional decision that I had to make, but I had to stop and think, this is what I want to do, but the money's not there. So I have to make a sound decision. If my emotions ran that decision, we would be bankrupt and we wouldn't be where I am today. Right. The reason why I'm here today and at the level that I'm at is because I take the emotion out of it. Like when there's money coming in and my wife wants a car seat for her thing, I'll probably go to a secondhand store to get that car seat. And I know that may not sound right because I've earmarked this money for building wealth, and I'm never going to touch this money regardless. Maybe if my family had cancer, maybe it would be an extreme case for me to touch this money. I wouldn't go on vacation because I've taken all emotion, and I could not be where I am today with these assets and with this stuff if I did not make that decision. So you have to ask yourself, am I going to make that decision? I'm not going to let it to be emotional. Anybody else? How do you overcome emotions? That would be a good question. How would you overcome emotions?
If you're struggling with that, then you should probably get a professional property manager and vet them out really well, because they're few and far between.
Yeah.
But they'll, because they won't have that emotional tie that you have. And if you find you're weak and you're giving in, you're making too many concessions, they smell that right away. You're done for.
It hasn't been that big of an issue. It's happened. I had Steven knows that I had some tenants that kind of bust me out on this. I'm all about asset protection. I'm learning from you guys, and I had some like trying to be savvy tenants like, no, we know you're the owner. It kept digging at me, and this is a couple of years ago. That hit me, and I was like, I want to be even more on top of this. I changed all my LLCs, tried, they can still find me or whatever, but it was probably a 1 in a million.
I just ask myself, is it business or is it personal? And then what am I willing to lose? Yep. Those are the questions I just ask myself. This is an asset, like, I'm going to drive over there, I'm going to protect my asset. I'm going to do whatever it takes because this is an asset that's going to yield this. Someone told me this. I used to be really laid back when I had debt-free houses, and people would be late on the rent. Or I wouldn't take their late fee. My office now, if you're late on one day, there is no grace period. Zero grace. But when someone told me this, they said that they're taking food out of your baby's mouth. It just changed my perspective. Your perspective is just wrong. Just change your perspective. When you said that this is a family-owned business, I would cut the word family out, and I'll say this is a business. It's a business. The judge is going to treat you like a business.
Sure.
Oh, I'm a weekend landlord. No. You should know the law. Do you know what the federal law is? Do you know what the HUD regulations are about red line? You know the law. You have to give them a lead-based paint, right? So if the United States of America and Oklahoma County is going to treat you at this level, then you need to treat everything at this level. You can't deviate. You got to be consistent. It's against the law. Because here's one example. I had to get on my property manager. We had a very older lady. I mean, she could barely pay the rent. And the landlord before me was gracious enough to go pick up the rent. Good for him. What a dummy. But hey, that's okay. So he would go over there every month and pick up the rent. That's not in my business model, just to be clear. We don't pick up rent, okay? Now, I feel sorry for this lady. But one counsel, a very good counsel, told me this. That's illegal. What do you mean? You're unfairly treating that person differently than you're treating all your other tenants. That's illegal. You have a policy and procedures in your company. If you want to pick up rent for this individual, then you have to pick up rent for everyone. It's unfair. Interesting. So from that day forward, I had to write her a letter, I'm sorry, and I gave her a bunch of stamps and a bunch of envelopes, and if get it in here and you'll be good to go, because that could be a fair housing affect me, and my empire could be affected by that because of that one decision, because I was doing the right thing. One time I got arrested for doing the right thing. I had a building, and we were throwing an event at the building, and there was no smoke detectors at the building, and the police were there to find this promoter, and they were doing a sting, and I just happened to own the building at the time. So I was a very young investor at the time. This is about 15 years ago, and I was there at the event making sure everything was going well. All these police came, and they're like, "Who's the owner?" Me, I'm the owner. I take pride. I'm responsible, and they just arrested me right there.
Sure.
Boom. But if I was the promoter, I would have just got fined. Right.
Right.
So standard. I don't know what I meant to say with that. I don't know where that led, but leave that alone. The next thing is on the marketing and the wholesaling thing. You just got to make a decision. How much do you want to spend on your marketing? And you can ask people here, how could you help you with marketing? Do you have any questions? Do we help you with that emotions thing?
Well, I'd like more specific.
Anybody else have any? How do you overcome stuff?
I'm just curious about, what about your lease agreement or your terms? Or
a lot of it is actually very similar to Steven's, and in mine, it's must be kept in a sanitary, clean condition, but it's like 3 words. So now I'm like, in my pet addendum, there's nothing about litter boxes and all litter must be in. I didn't go into detail on that, so I'm like, all right, well, there's more stuff to learn and add in. But clean and sanitary, is all I really have. Can't say anything.
Well, here's another idea. Here's another idea.
Do what?
You pay somebody $50 or a friend to go down there and let them be their inspector. Take pictures and let them draw up a thing, and your emotions are not even in it. I guarantee one person in this room who lives in Norman. Anybody live in Norman? Oh, he would be on. I've actually used him for this specific. I actually called him on a specific thing. I was like, listen, I'm having a leak problem. I can't solve this problem. Seriously, I got ripped off 3 Gs already. And I called him up there. He gave me 30 minutes of his life and I videotaped him and everything. Because he was telling me exactly what was wrong. Have him do the inspection. Take him out to lunch. And then he'll record it. I'll teach
eat
him
a lot of food.
Yeah, just take the emotion out. Have some.
Yeah.
That's why you hire attorneys.
Yeah.
That's what attorneys are for. That's their job. Hire someone. Hire someone. Take someone. A friend. If I was down there, I'd do it for you. But I would just. Bam, bam, bam. I'm here for the inspection.
Get your emotions out.
Yeah, like I'd have it all big. Look at that microscope. We have video camera. Man, there's something wrong here.
Detector, ammonia detector.
But you just don't let. The thing is what I want you to leave here today, and hopefully this would be one of your best. Don't be immobilized by your fear or emotions. That's what the Lord wanted me to tell you. Don't be immobilized. You have an army here that's behind you. You have like-minded people that's behind you. These are all landlords that have all cut their teeth and died somewhere. Yeah. Don't let that happen to you. You call somebody. If I lived close to you, I would have knocked on the door for you. Hey, I'm here to do the inspection. Done. Right? Would you?
Get Robert Goldman to do your eviction.
Yeah, no, see, I've got that line, but I haven't been there yet, so I'm knocking on wood, now I'm like, all right.
And honestly, they probably will clean it up one time, and then they'll get back to their old ways and do it again, but it's still worth it. You still have to document it. You still have to treat it like a business, and go from there.
Doesn't the Landlord-Tenant Act require them to live in sanitary conditions?
Yeah, it's in the lease.
No,
but
it's in the law.
It's the law?
It has to be held in a sanitary state.
Yeah. But again, how do you?
Yeah,
there's no way to
yeah.
You could take pictures of feces everywhere, and that's definitely unhygienical. But the reality is, it's his word versus this word. But see, he's just emotional because it's his place and what he had and all the hard work and hard money and your family. I wouldn't tell my wife. That's another thing. Just not to hide anything from her. I just don't let her know. I mean, my world is ending all the time. Every day I got blows up in my face.
Sure.
It's a reality. I just accept the fact, and I'm not trying to be a pessimist. That's just the nature of the business.
Right? Yeah. You know
That's just this type of lifestyle these people live. I don't understand. They can't pay their rent, but they can have 8 animals. It fascinates me, right? They have cable TV, but they can go out to dinner every day, or can't pay their rent, but. That's okay. That's their lifestyle, and that's fine. But here, I'm going to honor the law. You have a document that states these are the terms. You're not fulfilling those terms, and I'm not trying to be the bad guy. It's just business, just like OG&E. I always have to remind myself. I just say these things to myself, and it just gets me through every day. If I don't pay my electricity bill, OG&E cuts me off, right? Yep. If I go to Chili's and eat a cheeseburger, which would be great, and I don't pay, what happens to me? I go to jail. It's theft. If they don't pay their rent, it's theft in my mind. And if I saw someone breaking into Jackie's car out here, who's a really good friend of mine, and I love her, if I saw someone, I'd probably jump downstairs and run and tackle that guy. Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the procedure that you need to have, the process. Don't let it slide. This is your asset. This is most important. This is funding your children's college education or your future. Why would you leave it at their hands? Get the emotions out of it. Anyone else say? How else?
I'm taking action.
Don't let that keep you from buying more rentals.
Oh yeah, no. That trust me, that's not the deal. This is just hitting me.
Yeah. So how's other people cope with frustration or emotions? Anybody have any tips? This would be really good.
Or a tenant who's paying on time.
Psychic.
But
exercise is one.
Psychic.
Running.
Charge $300 an hour.
That's. I thought you were going to say go charge your credit card and go buy stuff. That didn't work really well for me back in the day. Nate, how do you overcome frustration?
Dude, for me, I try to say stress is like paying interest on a debt you might not even know. I think that was Zig Ziglar that said that. So my whole goal is to live a stress-free life. And one way to, we're talking about tenants paying late, I have really high late fees. Ridiculously stupid high. And I've only had to collect it once.
Yeah.
And it's because the guy was in Cabo for vacation and he forgot to pay, whatever. But this is what you sign, this is what we do. There's no, bending the rules. Sorry, dude.
I'm dead on that. I'm good with all that. They're paying on time, they're paying ahead of time. I haven't had any issues
Oh, no,
with that.
whoa. They're not paying on time. They're destroying your property, which causes you money. You're losing money. I'm telling you right now, we're having urine problems in my own little world to get cat pee out right now. It's not easy. And like, I mean, I know I can give you some products that can mask this stuff, but this is damaging. That's what I would say. It's his business.
Yeah.
It's not working. They need to move. It's going to cost you money. This is the cost of doing business. Would you feel better today if they were out, or would you feel better with money? You know, I'm done selling out for money. I'd rather be broke and happy than trying to gain something and be unfrustrated, or I'm mad at that person. You know, I don't want to look at Keith and I'm frustrated because he lives a different lifestyle than me. That's just his choice. I have to look at him with Jesus' eyes. I love him for who he is, for how God looks at him. I don't look because he has cats that piss all over my property all day. Yeah, I'm pissed the F off and I want to kill the dude, but I can't act that way, right? Because it's only causes more pain for me. That person's just la la land. I got 8 cats. Like, they don't care, right? So they're ruining your deal. I would just squash it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Is there a law about how many cats or dogs you can have?
Not that I'm aware of.
Norman, there's a
Well, yeah,
max.
they have city ordinances.
There's city
Yeah, there's
ordinances,
There's a
right?
city ordinance.
Not
It's
yet.
hard to prove how many cats you
Well,
have in
they've
a
just
house,
got 2
though.
cats.
Generally, what I do is I don't rent to people that have cats. Like,
Yeah.
I
That's the
charge
first
pet
time.
rent for dogs up to 50 pounds, and then more pet rent for above 50 pounds, and they have to be crated when the people aren't there.
All right, who's next? Good job.
Hey,
And get his number. Who's in Norman? Someone needs to go down to Norman and just ride with them. That's another thing. You know, Blake, you could just have someone go with you. Like, I have a rule of thumb. I don't go anywhere alone anymore. I barely ever will even go look at a property alone for 2 reasons. One, safety. The other reason is this individual, whoever I'm with, sees someone. Kenny and I went to a property. He sees other things. Kenny and I went to a property. I just bought this property. And I was, you know, he found a gold mine of stuff, a whole truckload of stuff that I would have never. I was there just to look at it, make sure it's safe. But he's like, "Don't forget this, don't forget that." I mean, by the time I left there, I had like several $100s worth of stuff in my truck that I would have not have taken. Just, I always bring a second person with me. So, and especially that also gives you the emotional stature that you need to overcome. Because because some professional tenants will make you whimper and back on your word, and then that's why I don't even try not to even look at a tenant. I do everything by text messages, mail, or email, because it just gets the emotions out of it. Because like they get all hot and excited, you know, over a little feline.
I'm thinking about the cats.
All right. Again, here's some subjects: money, flexible money, financing, decision making, life. Partnerships, marriage, motivation, goals, legal. Anybody else ready for the hot seat? Matt, jump up there.
Me?
Yep. I'm just going to call you out, Brian. You're next. Get ready. This is going to be entertaining. We got 40 more minutes. All right. So this is Matt Blagg. I've been a real estate investor for a long time. Does flips and so forth, right?
Yes.
Do you wholesale at all?
No,
Sometimes?
I do not.
Okay. Okay, your world is just the greatest, but you're in a transition of life, right? You were doing flipping houses for so long,
Yes.
and then you wanted to change. So,
Yes.
what can we help you with? This is your free counseling with Dr. Phil.
I like this.
Anything in the world, ask any question about anything.
Okay. How do you guys goal setting? I mean, I've read books. I've been to every conference, not every conference, lots of conferences, lots of workshops. I'm even doing an online Darren Hardy productivity thing right now, which has helped me a lot. But have you ever noticed, like, when you're on an airplane and you shut everything off, it's really clear. You know what you need to do until you land, right? And then life hits again and you get lost in the shuffle. And those goals that you just set when you're at 30,000 feet seem to like evaporate. So the day to day, for me, I'm like Blake. I'm a musician. I'm a right-brain artist, and I feel you on the emotion thing. That's why I hire a property manager, because I just know that's not. And that's why I don't wholesale, because I understand how it works. But that's a job. but I already have a job that I love. So therefore, I'm like you. I just want to have relationships with wholesalers to get deals. But mapping out how many properties do I want to buy this year? Sometimes I get lost in each project. So learn how to manage multiple projects at once, how to compartmentalize my time. I don't know if it's because I'm a right brain artist. I like to zone in and focus on one thing until it's done, but sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes you have to say, okay, you get this much time, then I'm going to put you up and I'll see you tomorrow. Number one, how do you manage several projects at once, like tips that you guys do? Or if you're doing more than one job, like if you have a full-time job, you're doing real estate on the side and then you do something else on the side, how do you allot time to those things? And then also setting goals from long-term to short-term. Do you guys do 5-year, 3-year, 90-day, daily? What do you do when you get up in the morning? Do you say, okay, this is what I want to accomplish this day, or Sunday night? Do you look at your week? How do you map out your week?
Good.
And so for me, yeah, my transition is I am going from being more of a flipper to more of a buy and hold guy, which is changing the paradigm of how I look at properties, and it's also how I set goals. So I'm wondering, like, how do you have I want to buy 10 properties this year, I want to buy 4 properties this year, and then you have to break it down from there.
All right, so organization, staying organized.
Staying organized.
Keeping project management, right? Mm-hmm. So the first thing that I wrote down was tools. I can give them some tools before I talk about tools. Does anybody else have any tools they want to mention? All right, sad people. Trello, TRELLO.com. A very good friend of mine runs a lot of businesses, and this is an amazing piece of software that you can have on your phone. It's a project managed software, and you have these boards, and these boards could be projects, so these boards could be a property, these boards could be your life, and then you could assign people to those tasks, you can assign people to those boards, and so it's like brain dumping everything that's in your mind. So I do it a little bit differently, but him and I were trading this week. We were trading, this is what's working for me. I use Google Tasks, but Google Tasks is not that robust. But when I was showing screenshots on how I stay organized, how I manage people, how I manage businesses, how I do it through Google, and he does it through Trello. I probably will go on to Trello. I'm actually going to start testing it. It's free, and they have like a subscription basis. TRELLO.com. And it's amazing. I've known about it for about 10 years. But this guy is super successful, and he has a wholesale business, he has a buy and hold business, he has a bunch of businesses, he's running a bunch of property, and I'm helping him hire people. And so he's got one gal running his property management, he's got one guy that does his acquisitions, and he has a board that's property management, and then he has tasks to do, tasks that were accomplished, and he has them all on this board. It's very robust, and you can see it's all visual. Has anybody else at Trello? Has anybody used it?
I've seen it.
You've seen it? Do you use it, Blake?
Formally, yeah. I'd stick with it.
I think it's worth the learning curve. Years ago, I used to be on Evernote, and I'm still on Evernote, but it's a little too overcomplicated. I think Trello is really simple, and when I shared with exactly how I run my business daily, like I have a board that's this person, and then I have all the tasks for that person. That person can log in and see those tasks, and then when they're done, it notifies me, keeps me emails and stuff. So that's one way. Another thing is to segregate your businesses, because I have this problem, and especially when I'm in the process of transitioning from flipping to wholesaling, or a new entity from social media to running houses. I just set specific times, and what happens is it's just focused. So Thursdays is my real estate day. Like all the way, I plan from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. That's all I work on that day is real estate. Even at night. So that's why, because all the RIAs are on Thursdays. Mm-hmm. I teach my classes on Thursdays. And this Thursday is night of worship at church, so it would be cool to break that. But overall, that's all I do on Thursdays is real estate. And then I do specific hard tasks early in the morning. So for example, I'm in the process of emotional roller coaster like poor Blake over here because I feel this pain, and I'm like trying to schedule to deal with those issues, and I know that I don't schedule those in the afternoon. I only schedule those in the morning, and that would be 8, 9, or 10 at the maximum. So if I have to make a decision, and like I was talking to this individual, I can't do it today because I'm slammed all the way all day. I only have one window. It's 11 o'clock tomorrow, and I said we need to make a decision and be final by Friday. In my mind, 8 o'clock is when I'm gonna work on it. By Friday, by 10 o'clock, the decision will be made, good or bad, and we'll be done and we'll move on.
That's cool.
So that's how I do it. I'm very like disciplined in those little areas, like about the money. I don't, if I earmark this money and I'm having this problem with the job, and everyone knows this, that you go over budget. And so I have a specific number, and we did not factor in that it would take longer. Now, you should always factor in failure rate, which is 20%, and I would do 30% in this climate, in this market. I always factor in another 30%. But there's some variables that I did not have an answer for, and I just always hope for the best. And so I set this specific amount of money, let's just say $20,000, and I thought that my return would happen by this day, and it didn't happen. And so I have a hard, fast number. Either we're going to stop the business or something else is going to happen.
That's good.
Now, your emotions, I don't want to stop the business. Look how much. But see, read the book called The Dip by Seth Godin. If you're struggling with when should you quit, when should you stay, it's a book. It'll take you an hour to read. It's only $5 on Audible. Still, definitely worth your time. The Dip by Seth Godin.
So something that I do, which is a little bit different than like the Trillio app, I use this app called Anydo, and the philosophy that I use is from a Dave Ramsey book called Entree Leadership, and he calls it. I read that book probably 3 or 4 times. I love it.
Yeah.
Like I gave it out to probably 20 people. Like the idea is like the A1 sauce. Like your A1 is like your most important task. Like if you didn't get anything else done, that's kind of how I try to focus my day.
Mm-hmm.
And then A2, A3, B1, B2, and like in that Any.do app, like I kind of use that same format in there. And that's pretty much how I structure my life around that. But I'm a really big like checklist guy. Like you get satisfaction from like striking that shit off, and you just like boom, crushed it.
Yeah.
And then you do like 12 of them in one day. You just throw your phone down and dance. Like that to me is a good day. But it's probably not as high speed, low drag as the Trillio app. It sounds like this thing is more like intuitive for business stuff. But also the thing I like about this Any.do thing is like you destroy your phone from slamming it down after crushing it on 12 apps. Like it backs it all up on your Google Cloud for free, and
that's cool.
It really is.
That's a good point. You got to have dopamine. You got to have excitement.
Sure.
And I read a book the other day. It said, the first thing you should do is you should make your bed, and you feel.
I was reading that too. Yeah.
And it makes you feel accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very interesting because I don't do that, but my child does that, and my wife makes the bed. But I'm not a big fan of making the bed.
She's taking your accomplishment.
Well, she must feel good because I don't. Like, it's still real. I'm gonna hop back in that deal later. So why should I even do it? But that's my philosophy. It's not a good philosophy for some. But I noticed that my son does it, and I don't know. He's too young at 7 years old to figure that. Does this fulfill you? Mm-hmm. But I know when you accomplish something, it creates. So it's the first thing in the day. If you make your bed, you feel accomplished.
Sure.
And if you're at a low point in your life, just go make your bed.
Yeah.
There's a book. You guys probably heard it, Miracle Morning Millionaire.
Yes.
I just read that. That's Hal Elrod and Ted Osborne. But that whole thing is about that, like how you start your morning.
Yeah.
And he talks about how he wasn't a morning person, but he shifted. And now he gets up at 5 and he gets his workout done, and he has his meditation and his tasks and all that stuff, and it just starts your day kind of on the right foot. So
yeah, that was a good book.
Okay.
I read that book because I'm a musician. I'm used to getting in at 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I had to shift my whole. But now I totally get that because it's so.
Okay, keep going because we still have the goals part of his question.
Goals.
Yes.
Okay, you're at 30,000 feet.
Yeah.
You're wanting to land and then start running.
Yeah.
Okay. 30 years ago, I wrote down on a yellow pad my goals.
Mm-hmm.
Which one?
Which goal?
Yeah, which one? Which one?
That's why Siri sucks.
I've hit them.
Okay.
I didn't detail out a plan, but the psychological, the neural feedback that you get from writing your goals down
Yeah.
is 10,000 times more important than you typing it out.
Yeah.
So number one, write your goals down and define where you want to be, and this is what you'd like to attain. I mean, the crazy ass goals that
Yeah.
you, whatever it might be,
Yeah.
and your God-given gift
Mhm.
will work you to go in that direction.
Yeah.
Number one, but define what you want. That's the number one thing on goals. And
That's
then
good.
there's a whole process of defining how you want to attain each one of those goals. And then there's so much information out there. You can get information overload.
Yeah.
But Jim Rohn
Yeah.
is so good at documenting how to reach your goals. And his most important stuff is writing down your goals, and here's the process. So he's got some information on that will help you out immensely. The Miracle Morning is
Yeah.
gold.
Yeah.
What is it? The success. Each word stands for.
Oh, the acronym,
But
success.
Or something, yeah?
yeah, you have to write this stuff down and then implement.
Yeah.
Just move. You may not have it figured out, but move forward,
That's good.
and then have faith that each one's going to fall into place.
Yeah.
But you move forward daily.
That's good.
Okay, anyone else have any goals?
I would say you were talking about like 10-year, 5-year, 90-day goals. I think those are really important too, because like you can drive from here to California at night, but like you can only see 300 feet ahead of you, right, with your headlights. So to me, like I always try to keep that. I know where I'm trying to get to. Like it doesn't matter if I go down Interstate 40 or 20 or whatever. Like you're still going to get to the same way. You just might see some other stuff along the way. So to me, like it's really important to stay focused on the daily goals and the weekly and the monthly, but still be cognizant. Is this getting me closer? Like a good example, like a constant reminder, like even on my dashboard in my car, I have like Robert Kiyosaki's like cash flow quadrant, because I always want to make sure I'm in the right quadrant. Because if I'm doing the employee stuff, it doesn't make sense. It's not a good use of my time. Like hire someone to mow the yard, move on with life, like that kind of stuff. But more importantly, like it really is hard to define what you want 10 years from now. Because who you are 10 years from now ain't who you are today, just like it wasn't who you were 10 years ago, right?
Right.
And so for me, like that's something I always struggle with. Like I still have like 3 really big goals on my like to-do list for 10 years.
Yeah.
And then like 5 years, I probably have like 8 of them. And then like by 1 year, I have like 24 of them, I think.
Yeah.
So like there's like, I don't know, the daily thing, it changes every day because like you swipe them off, push it, and then slam your phone down, right? But that's the whole idea, I think, for long-term goals is really have like, do you want to go east? Do you want to go west? Once you know you're going west, keep going west. Just make sure you're always heading in that same direction.
That's good. I guess I sometimes get siloed inside a project. So you have your goals and you're on this, then all of a sudden you do a project that's going to get you towards your goal, but you kind of get lost in that project and you forget the overall viewpoint. So I tend to be that way, and I have to fight against that to remember if I'm doing a flip, that's my world, and I just concentrate on that instead of tending to the other parts that need to keep me headed in the overall direction.
That's an interesting question because I'm the opposite of that. I don't know if you guys figured this out, but I feel like I'm missing out if I'm too focused on one thing. How do you deal with that? Is that just natural for who you are?
It's natural for who I am, but I realize it's not healthy because I could, if I'm writing a song, I could go lock myself in a room for 5 days and like just slide food under the door to me and don't talk to me for 5 days.
I would disagree that that's not healthy though, because to me,
it may be, yeah.
I think you play to your strengths. Like to me, if you're really good at doing that, do that.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense to try to like strengthen the stuff that you're weak at. Like I'm very focused on
that.
When I think of something, it's all I can think about. Like when I'm traveling or something, it consumes me. I can't even think about anything else. Like it doesn't behoove me to. So I mean, like I struggle with that same thing every day.
It's just like wholesalers. You do a deal, also you do a flip, but you stop marketing, and there's nothing in the pipeline. You got to keep that pipeline full, so that when you're through with that, it's still the machine's still going. You don't lose momentum. I guess that's what I'm talking about. I can get lost in one project, but lose sight of the big picture. So that's a struggle for me.
Maybe a visual element.
A visual element, yeah.
You know, like a vision board or your goals.
Yeah.
That's why I like, I noticed just this year actually, I've started a few things, and I've noticed I've been better if I looked at which I'm not a spreadsheet person. If I could never log into QuickBooks, my life would be great. But I actually started this year looking at the spreadsheet, where is the expenses going in real time, and I'm the one that's actually typing them in just for new projects that I'm working on, just to see and manage the flow of money. It's helped me to stay focused on what I'm trying to do and where I'm going. Any other tips?
So one of mine, I pretty much going off of what everybody else is saying, it's really good to write. As soon as you think something, write it down so you don't forget it. But my thing is creating deadlines for yourself. Being self-employed, you don't have anybody doing that for you.
Right.
It's all on you. And so, hearing from what you're saying, that it sometimes takes you too long and you devote too much time into this one area, it's because you're not really dividing your time up well enough. You're allowing yourself just to do something, not writing down time, and so you next thing you know, you spent a whole day doing something you didn't have to spend a whole day in, maybe just 3 hours. So create your own deadlines, and then you have to be done on a calendar or whatever. Give yourself only 3 days for it to be done, and then you move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Well said.
Would be my.
Put your hands together for the young buck back there. I think that's true, and I forget that you really need to give a timeline, because there's no accountability, and I think we would do a lot better as entrepreneurs if we had more accountability.
Yep.
All right,
that's good.
Good job.
Thank you all very much.
All right, who's next? We could probably squeeze in 2 or at least 1 more. Who wants to jump up there? Go ahead, young.
We're not landlords yet, but we're working on it. But we do more like remodeling. So I don't know.
That's great. Come on, get your ass up here.
Come on in.
Let's just get to the point. All right, what's your name?
Christian.
Christian?
Yep.
And I'm Steven. Nice to meet you.
Steven, nice to meet
Okay,
you.
you have a let me hold that for you.
Do we need to sit?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to do the full experience, homie. Okay, so you can be questions on anything.
Okay.
So, but you're a Christian, not a Christian, but whatever the frick your name is. Yeah. And it's not Satan. So...
Tell us about your business.
Yeah, tell us about who you are, what you're about, that you're a future landlord, and whatever.
Okay. So my name is Christian England. Me and my mom have opened up a business almost 5 years ago to date now. We mainly do remodel type stuff for flippers, apartment complexes, so have it. But what we specialize in is refinishing. So we can take old stuff, make it look new for half the cost of what it would take. There's no demo or anything, and we're in and out in just a couple of hours. And we've done something for Jackie back there. The only person I think we've done for in here. But it's something that's very quick, looks very good, and we do have samples, and it doesn't take very long.
Okay.
The process is very simple.
Okay. It's like a refinishing product that
Correct.
you do, and then you do the labor and supply the product. Okay, great.
Yeah.
What are you struggling with, or do you have any questions or anything that you want to be better at, or something that's bothering you?
I get real bad about. I'm very bad about putting myself down. Just because.
Like you talk.
Because you
say
you
things
always
about yourself bad.
I don't.
In your mind?
I don't say them. That's because that's bad to do. I've done that before.
Sure.
And of course, everybody has their own faults. I do it probably time to time, but I always get in this little mix where I'm not where I should be yet, and I get mad because I'm not. But yet But everything I'm doing is working towards those goals. It's just I'm not there yet, and it irritates me. So.
Okay. Well, let's just start there. It's normal. Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Right? Would you agree? We all have that. Now, I go to Life Church, and we're actually in the series of what you're talking about. So if you can go online, go to life.church. I know this is just ghetto to say this, but the first thing that popped in my head is work on self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you do that? Like, there's tons of courses on self-esteem from Nightingale Conan, and it's so cliche. Hey, here's the book, read it. That's not the way to do it.
Or maybe surrounding yourself with
that was the
people.
next thing. Yeah, but yeah. I think it's a normal thing, and I think that I don't want to get spiritual or anything, but I think it's just normal, especially that the disease that I have in my heart that I'm trying to fight is I compare myself to people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like them. I'm better, and I'm not saying that I'm better, but what's happening? I think if you get to the root of the situation, what's going on? Why am I talking bad about myself? It's real easy to say, because I had a bad dad. I didn't have a dad growing up, so that's why I'm hard on myself, right? We rationalize all this stuff, and I think if you just confess it, maybe have a accountability partner or another man like-minded. When you started speaking, man, my heart just fluttered for you, because wow, I need that dude in my life, right? I don't know about you, but I'm like, how old are you?
25.
25 years old. I'm 20 years older than you. I was like, wow. He just articulated what I've been trying to teach people for years. Put a timeline, a deadline in it. And maybe it's something that you just read. So what's ways that you could, I think it's a self-esteem. And when I say that, it's not derogatory that you're a bad person. But I've just noticed with my own children and the struggles that I'm having with them, it's a self-esteem issue. I think it boils down to self-esteem. Would you agree with me on that? Okay. How do we overcome self-esteem? Little successes, little wins. Just like the guy said earlier, when he scratches something off, what happens? Well, chemically what happens is endorphin goes off. You know, I had a disease later in life. I had a low self-esteem, and I probably still do in some regard, but I would go to every Friday, I would go to Best Buy and buy a CD. It was bizarre. And I'd rationalize in my mind that I need it for my DJ business. I can write it off on my taxes. But it was because I had a low self-esteem, and me, because I didn't have things as a child, because we were very broke and we didn't have Christmases and we had all these problems, but that fulfilled me because I bought something. It was a self-esteem issue. So maybe in another do it in a positive way. What's one way? You know, maybe helping someone else. Volunteering could help a self-esteem issue. When you see someone lesser than, Joan?
I meditate on, because I am a Christian, the Word. So that's how I started my business when I was less than 30. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Greater is He that is in me than he is in the world. And that's how I overcame lack of confidence of starting what I wanted to do.
You know, that brings a point. There's some awesome person in my life, you know, I believed in affirmations. You know what affirmations are?
Yeah.
There's like these things. So affirmations have been in my life. I'm all into personal development. So just so you know, I fell into personal development. I don't know. When I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, that was the very first book I ever read that really ignited. And then so I started digging in there. I started getting Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy. But just recently, within the last year, and another really good friend of mine really brought affirmations in my life, because I've never ran into anyone else that does that. And I don't do it. But I've noticed a huge difference in my daughter. My wife made a list of affirmations on a piece of paper and laminated it. And every night before, because my daughter has brown skin and my daughter has curly hair, and we notice that that's going to be a conflict later, kind of, because people will say something. So we try to combat that ahead of the time. And so my daughter every night reads, "I am a child of God. I love my hair." I don't know what those affirmations. And I was like, man, I'm teaching my child to do this, but I'm not doing it myself. That's sad. And I just through this recent service at Life, it's called the Mastermind, and he went real big on it. Does anybody see that episode on this last week? It was all on affirmations, and we're in a battle, and we're in a competition battle of entrepreneurs. We're in competition against taxes and against legal issues. How do you stay? Well, I am an entrepreneur. I am successful. I own a successful business. Sometimes we get a little too much ego in there. I am a millionaire. That's whoa, slow down, big dog. But maybe that will work. Any other ways to help? To give them some suggestions.
Some comments. Like when you do have a failure, and I have to have a self-talk myself. If I make a mistake, I have to tell myself, "Hey, you learn from your mistakes. You learn more from your mistakes than your success." So don't beat yourself up first of all, because that's negative. And I think we've been taught that it's a sin to be prideful in being too proud of your achievements. So your self-talk becomes negative, and that's bad. Like you said, go on the affirmative side. And another way about confidence is that saying, "Fake it till you make it." Mm-hmm. And I know I've done that when I was a baby lawyer, and I would go into court. I really wasn't all that sure sometimes, but boy, I could fake it. Most girls can. But anyway, go to Toastmasters. That's another thing I did. I went to Toastmasters. I learned public speaking. I gained so much confidence in that. And you guys are both articulate, but still, there's just something you gain from that. And I'm running for office now. I don't mind getting up in front of all these people and telling them what I'm about and everything.
And iron sharpens iron. Two are better than one. You could reach out to someone and just ask them. That gives you the ultimate confidence that you need.
Yeah.
I think those are good points.
Christian.
Yes, sir.
Who you hang with, the 5 people that you put in your life is who you're going to become.
Okay.
You need to make sure that those people that you're hanging with are what you would aspire to be like. Their character, their morals, their business savvy, their success. You don't want to hang with somebody that's completely always a failure, that you're trying to pull up, and you're at the same time you're trying to pull yourself up.
Yeah, you got to drop them.
You don't want to do that. And what have you been successful at? Have you done anything successful?
Well, yeah, we have a business. Yeah.
Oh, okay, but what you need to remember is your battles. You need to remember what you have succeeded in, okay? Shadow boxing. You know what shadow boxing is?
Yep.
You've seen that boxer up there and he'll do this?
Yep.
He's working on the moves of the guy that's not there, but that's what he's doing. You shadow box, okay?
That's a good point. Here one thing. I have a 3-ring binder at home, and I have page protectors in there, and I put in things like when I got an acceptance letter from a bank that loaned me money, or even when I had a legal issue, what I've overcome. So I call this a success book. Some people call it a vision book. And if I ever get low, I just let all these things that I have done. I can't believe it, that I have traveled these places or I've met these people. That also helps me overcome a lot of stuff.
Something I wanted to say when Matt was talking, and this applies to all of us. If you will start your day off, when you get up, have your coffee or whatever, but give yourself 30 minutes to an hour and have a moment of silence or prayer, reaffirm what you're thinking about, what's important, what do you want it to achieve. Affirmations. I am a really good person. I am a good businessman. You call forth what you want to be.
Yeah.
Okay? Then visualization. Visualization is so important. I trained for a Mr. Oklahoma contest and won it in 2007. My trainer said, you have to see yourself on that stage. I said, no way. But he made me see it, okay? Because I wasn't going to get up in one of those little bikinis, okay? It's embarrassing. But anyway, writing down, inscribing, okay? Read motivational stuff. Read stuff that's going to pick you up. You exercise your brain just like you exercise your body. And then, number 2, the last one, exercise.
Yep.
Get those endorphins going. I mean, I hit it this morning. I hit it last night for an hour, and I was cussing my trainer. I hit it again this morning at 8:30. I was cussing him again. We're driving up here for an hour, and I can't keep my mouth shut because I'm so fired up about life. I mean, it's just
awesome. We got 10 more. Good job. And we got 8 more minutes. Anybody else want to jump up? I'll hold the chair for you. Anybody else? Kenny, come on up here, buddy. If you look at me twice, that means it's your turn. Sometimes you just need a little nudge. Welcome to the Dirty Hot Seat. How can I help you?
It's all right there.
All right. This guy his name's Kenny LeBlanc. He's been an investor for only 4 months.
4 months?
Has done great things in his investment world, buy and hold. Okay. So what are you struggling with?
Too much success at once, maybe?
Too much
Fear
success?
of not being able to manage everything that I have going.
That's a good question.
Just trying to
Hey. Shut it down.
trying to figure out the entrepreneur world and break away from the way I've been programmed to be in the W-2, the sheep world.
Those are 2 good things. One is, how do you deal with success? I think a lot of people sabotage themselves with success. I know that I have in the past. And that could be a self-esteem issue as well. And then converting from a W-2 to an entrepreneur. Well, those are 2 phenomenal subjects. Let's pick one of those, or we can try to do both. I don't know about the success thing. I struggle with it. I don't know I don't even know what the gauge of to success. Some people think I'm successful, but who's success? What's success? One house or no house? I think it's your definition of success is the most important thing. Me being at home at a specific time to be there for my family is more successful than 100 houses in my mind. Now, the 100 houses allows you to be home at that time. So I think that will be a lifelong struggle for people. Would you agree? Mm-hmm. I mean, because success could just, my dream as a child was to own a business. Well, my very first dream was to own a house or to live in a house. I lived in an apartment my whole life. Just to own, and many structures that I own now is just phenomenal. But What is success? I think you have to define success first, and then that's what success is to you. Because success is bodybuilding to this dude. That's not this guy. That doesn't make he's better or worse than me. That's his define for success for him. His health is successful, which is extremely important. But I would start there. What's success to you? What does it look like? Start painting that picture. Is a success staying at home? Is it success having a yacht? And I think there's nothing wrong with having things or a Rolex. People judge people and they have no idea where they come from, right? But the reality is, if we don't define what success is for you, you'll never obtain it and you'll never reach it, and you'll always will be wondering about it. So that would be the first thing that I would try to spend some time, and you might need to get with a friend and have him help you with what's success to you, because that'd be really cool. That'd be a really good interview. I should start interviewing people. What's success to you? What's success to you?
It's not finances. It's being happy. It's being loved. It's having family.
Right.
And then being able, like you said, to have the income coming in.
To do what you want to do.
To do what I want to do.
I heard, and this has stuck with me forever, and I don't know why this has stuck with me. It was like, success to this individual is I don't have to have an alarm clock. And I think that every day. Like last night, I did not set my alarm clock. Only thing I didn't be here, I didn't sleep till 11 to get here, at noon. But the reality is, what is success to you? I think what's success to you?
Well, number one, being able to worship the Lord
Freely.
freely.
So stay here in the United States. So you're already successful.
Number two is to be able to have the income coming in that I could travel.
Okay. So how many places do you want to visit?
I don't know. I can't count them. Lots of places.
Okay, I would be writing those places down and be real specific. That's success to you. Okay, good. Anyone else? Any comments on too successful? Any comments on that?
I think the fear of being too successful is that you're going to lose your life's balance, or
Yes.
family, spiritual, all those things that matter in your life. If you have too much focus just on the financial, and you're so busy with that, everything else falls off. It may cost you your marriage. It may cost you your relationship with your child, or whatever.
But I love what she's trying to say. Or you have the decision to say no. I get myself in problems all the time. I think I can do more than I can constantly do, but then sometimes I have to say no, and it hurts, and I lose money, and it's gut wrenching. But I want this specific lifestyle. The Lord spoke to me this week. I've been struggling with some stuff, and He was like, what do you want, Stephen? What's going to make you happy? And I'm trying to search that answer. What makes me happy? What do I want? Right? If you can define, and it boiled down to, real estate seems to be easy for me. It's pretty calculated, everything it is to me, right? There's some variables, but it's pretty calculated. It just seems simple to me, so I'm making it harder than it is. And what do I like? I like to teach, and so I'm this morning I was thinking, I was like, maybe I should spend more time writing more books and doing more classes and doing more things. And what makes me happy? You've got to really ask that question. What makes plain RC cars make me happy? Makes me happy. It's just I'm weird. It's just what it is. What makes you happy? All right, the next one. Do we have time? We do. 1 minute. Who can sum this up? From a W-2 to an entrepreneur, what encouragement could we say to him? Or what strategies? Because I don't know that world. I've only been an entrepreneur my whole life.
I saw
I don't know.
a sign in my realtor's office the other day. It said, "I'd rather hustle 24/7 than grind at 9 to 5."
For
If
sure.
you have that kind of mindset, realizing it's on you, and you do whatever it takes. You don't count the hours.
Mm-hmm.
You count. It's all about results, and you have to look at it in that where he's saying, like, when you're a W-2, it's all about, I'm going to do my job. You kind of have this little siloed, like, this is my job. But no, it's all your job when you're an entrepreneur, because it all depends on you. But that's the beauty of it, too, that you have control over that, too. No one else is going to micromanage you, saying, okay, you do this, and look over your shoulder.
Yes.
Yeah, that's funny, because I always said I'd rather take a pay cut and enjoy life. And everyone that works for me, I'm very clear on what a W-2 is and what 1099 is. and you're probably going to get paid less working here, but it's going to be a lot more enjoyable. And if you want to chase that dollar, this is not the place to work for, because I'd rather be happy or fulfilled than any other way.
A W-2 is a ship without a rudder.
And
Being
also-
an entrepreneur is in control of your destiny.
And also, when you're unhappy, you're stressed out because you're unhappy, and that's what we're trying to get away from, is being stressed.
Well, I think W-2 boils into a box. You're limited. You're taxed totally different. It's just like, to me, it's like you may have more income, but if you really put time for time, dollar for dollar, it is the losing game. Being a W-2 employee is a losing game. It's set up that way. If you really want to get up into it and study our government, it's a losing game. On the entrepreneur side, it's a winning game. Our economy, our world is based on entrepreneur. I'm employing all these people. We're making, the entrepreneur is making the world move. On this side, it's just a limited situation. That staff person is getting paid to do one specific job, and it stops right there. And I think that's what attracts me to being an entrepreneur is the level of freedom. And that freedom may be at a cost of I might not make $100,000 a year. I could go make a job and work in New York, but people would hire me because I have this one marketing skill. But if I can apply that same marketing skill and make $60,000, but I have the freedom, I can work at 4 o'clock if I want to or not. But here, for me to make that $100, I have to be in at this, or $100,000, I have to be at this time.
So I can identify a little with this. I'm trying to break away from my W-2 in December. And I struggle with the idea that I think I've replaced my salary with my income for my properties. I don't trust that that's actually happening, even though it is happening, right? I always think there's variables that can happen as things progress. So I'm always worried about an economy change, etc. My day job is one where I can spend 50, 60, sometimes 70% of my day working on my real estate business. And they pay me a lot of money, and I only have a high school education, so it's kind of like best of both worlds, or it seems so. It's like a trick, right? But I know that if I can break out of my day job, I can spend all of that time on growing my business and making it more successful than being thinking that I'm spending as much time as I really can on it while being trapped into this day job position. So it's kind of like I'm in a catch-22. It seems like it's the best of both worlds, but I know that if I take the leap and push myself, I'll be able to grow my business bigger than my W-2 job would ever allow.
Well, two things. It seems like you're driven by fear. I mean, that's just the decisions. I mean, I can go either way with you, because like you're working for an employer, you should be giving the employer the full. Working 8 hours is stealing.
I get my job done.
Well, that's how the people I employ people like you, because it's a fee, in my mind. But I don't want to get all weird about it. But the reality is, you're just making that decision based on fear. The one thing that I thought of you, bet on yourself, homie. You're going to win. It's like your business is going to double. Many times I've seen people quit and go into real estate and just crush it, and they just focused on that one thing and they just did very well. You already are successful. You're just playing. Just make the decision, and you don't have to make that decision, because there's good friends of mine that have wonderful jobs and they love their job and they're really good at real estate too. They enjoy their job. There's nothing wrong with that. But if it's out of fear because of benefits, that's society what tells us. I can fix that for you, because I can tell you how to fix that. But you got to do what don't have any regrets. I could have did this. I should have did this. You can do it. You can always go back to that W-2. High school education is irrelevant. I have a high school education. That's all I have. I'm telling you, I make 10 times more than an average person with a master's degree, and I enjoy this amazing lifestyle. So that's irrelevant. It's just you're basing your decision on fear. I can give you quantified data on real estate, on providing. You just have to make that decision, and it's okay. You could and do the hard, fast date. That's another thing that the young buck said. December, and I had a friend that was in my mastermind group. I don't know if you were there, but he was like, June, I'm going to quit. all of us called the guy. Did you quit? Because we're all entrepreneurs, and he was the only one that still had a day job. And and then he said, no. A year later, he's still working, but he's comfortable. And like, to be really successful, you can't be comfortable. You got to get out of your comfort zone. I mean, I do weird things every day to get myself out of the comfort zone. You got to get it. If you want to be what you want to be, you got to get out of the comfort zone. If you wanted to run a law firm, I'm telling you, you got to get out of your comfort zone. If you want to own 100-something properties, you got to get out of your comfort zone. Nothing will be easy. But I'm telling you right now, I bet on you. I could tell with your heart and your mind already, you're a winner. Dude, just do it. Simple. Why are you afraid? You don't have accountability. What are you worried about money? You don't need money. You can do it. All right, you were going to say something, lady. Your hand was up.
Well, on a tax standpoint, you want to make sure you reserve money for taxes, because I see a lot of my clients at the end of the year, they spread too thin and they got stuck with this big tax bill.
Yeah, that's what I was going to tell her. You should just, if you're going to leave, plan on taxes and stuff and micromanage that in your budget. And you probably figured that out already. Yeah, you're analysis paralysis guy. There's some book I read that answered those questions. I don't know. I just figure it out later. If I have a tax bill, I'm like, damn, I'm not going to do that again. And then I just figure it out. But that's the fun thing of it. But I mean, other people can't live like that. Other people have to live in this perfect world. There is no perfect world. I think, and I'm not a conspiracy guy, I think it's a sham. The W-2 deal is a sham. The amount of money, I mean, just the other day, I was like, I get taxed on electricity to my house. I mean, we're taxed 4 times on everything. The only way that we have any brevity of life, of lift, is being an entrepreneur. Because I can control my expenses. I can control where the money goes. And I can apply it to things. You can't do that with a W-2. Boom, you get paid, 40% of it's gone instantaneously. Oh, by the way, after tax dollars, you gotta go get gas. Oh, pay more taxes. Oh yeah, pay for that house, get that mortgage, pay that interest. By the way, the gasoline, the electricity, you're going to pay taxes on that. I'm telling you, we're living at 60% tax bracket. We are. We just don't think that we are, because we're following this. Whose plan are we following? You said it earlier. What rudder are you following? Right? Whose dream are you living? Are you living the guy's dream that pays you the W-2, or are you living your dream? Yeah, you're going to have to live someone else's dream for a little while to get to where your dream wants to be. But there's a time to cut the cord. And the cool thing is my mom, I remember when I moved here, my mom dropped me off. I didn't know anybody in the state, but I knew at any time I can go back home. And I mean, at 18 years old, when I landed here in Oklahoma, I was like, wow, I never went back. It's real simple. You can go back if you want to. You can always, I can tell you, I would hire you, because I can just tell your mentality. Right? So what's your fear? There is no fear. So get with are you married?
No.
We'll get married. And then, because then you have a second income. Live off of her W-2. Oh, I did that.
She's trying to break out of it down in Florida herself. She's fine.
Well, this go crazy and make a story about it. You're so young. Do it now. I'm telling you. Do it now. Maybe because I'm turning 45 at the end of the month. What's what it is. I'm telling you. I remember vividly walking on college, confused, and I'm like, I would say this all the time to myself. Man, when I'm 50, I don't want to have any regrets. Well, I don't know how I said it, but I was like, when I turn 50, I want to make sure I did this. I'm about to turn 45. I'm like, damn, I got 5 more years. I'm gonna be 50, and I'm checking myself right now. It's like midlife crisis. Did I do that? Did I do the motorcycle trip in Colorado? Did I do these things? Did I obtain the goals that I wrote down? Am I doing them? Am I at the health and wealth that I want to be at? I don't want to have any regrets when I'm 50. So I would write that down real fast. What are my regrets? And you're not with your girlfriend or wife right now, there's something wrong right there. Boom. Make that deal happen.
Part of walking away from the W-2.
Or you tell your W-2 job, I'm going to read the 4-hour work week. Has anybody read that workbook? Yeah, just apply it. Buddy, I'm leaving. I'll still work for you. We could do this automated. We can do this through Skype. Well, we can make this work somehow. And if he fires you, then he was never on your team. Never. He never cared about you. And that's just reality. People just are assuming that people care about you. The poor kid on the self-esteem, or somebody, this is a subject that came to my mind just recently. I'm telling you, no one cares about you. They can't. It's impossible. If my child or something tragically happened, dude, we have to do it. It's not that I don't care about you, but we're all selfish people fulfilling one thing that you understand? Just accept that fact. So be selfish and go live your life.
Call me on December 5th, see if I quit.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be calling.
Yeah. All right. W-2 last words from a man. Quit your job. No, don't quit. There's books on that. Quit at a certain time with a certain paycheck or whatever. Yeah.
I always looked at a W-2 as like they're giving you money to walk away from your dream. Is this worth your $15 an hour, $150 an hour, whatever, because you're building their dream. But at the same time, I also realized you have to do what you have to do for a little while, so later you can do what you want to do. And that was always my mentality. I was like, in my mind, I was like, if I can do this for 10 years, I know I can walk away and not have a single worry. Like, because to me, success is freedom. Absolute and utter freedom. You walk in, you don't like what you're doing, don't do it. You don't enjoy what you're doing, don't do it. You have freedom, time freedom, health freedom, any freedom, doesn't matter. And so, to me, the idea with the government, they do tax you as a W-2 employee because they don't want more people as W-2 employees. They want more people to buy houses. They want more people to start businesses. There's a reason why they incentivize that. If they didn't want it, they wouldn't give you the golden ticket or the carrot or whatever, right? Yeah. So to me, the idea is, if anyone in here owns property and you're paying more than like $30 in taxes a year, go find a new accountant today because you're doing it wrong. That's not what right looks like, because taxation is theft, like you're talking about. We're at a 60% tax bracket. By the time you pay taxes on the money and buy anything, anywhere, anytime, it's retarded. So at that point, I would say, if you are looking to make that jump, like, realize it is going to be scary, but you still have a ripcord. You can always go back. You can always find another job. Jiffy Lube, I see them hiring all the time. It ain't rocket science to change oil.
Yeah.
You can make more than enough money to
And that's so funny because I don't know about you, but I start seeing hiring is everywhere. My receipt the other day from somewhere says we're hiring. Like, if you can't find a job right now, there's something seriously wrong. And people tell me that we're in a good economy. I don't know what makes a good economy and a bad economy, because I'm still going down this economy, my economy. You know, I'm not worried about other people. I'm just making sure that I'm taking care of what I need to be doing and my family's taken care of. You know, I'm not watching the stock market crash. Okay, well, you're dumb. It's lazy work. Get out there and make a business happen. All right. Put your hands together. Good job.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at SavvyRadioShow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.